Dear viewers in Cameroon and beyond, welcome to Road To Etoudi, the program that examines Cameroon's political landscape and also help voters make informed decisions ahead of the presidential elections in October 12th, 2025. My name is Mimi Mefo Neo, and today we are going to be turning our focus to a political party that we've not looked at since the start of Road to Etoudi. It is the National Union for Democracy and Progress, the NUDP party, which is the UNDP as well in French. We will be focusing on the party of Bello Bouba Maigari. He is a presidential election in the upcoming presidential election. At 79 years old, Bello Bouba Maigari believes that he is the right person to challenge 92-year-old President Paul Biya. And interestingly, he resigned from President Paul Biya's government or his alliance with, including his alliance. Also, he resigned from President Paul Biya's government. That was last July. And to help us understand why we are joined, why he resigned, why the UNDP party believes that they've got what it takes to replace President Paul Biya. We have the UNDP National Youth Chairman, Mr. Paul Mbafor, who is joining us tonight on the program. Hello, Mr. Mbafor. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hello, Mimi. It's a pleasure. The pleasure is really mine and ours as a party. Thank you very much.
Thank you also for coming. First, congratulations on your appointment as one of the national campaign coordinators of the NUDP party. How do you feel after this nomination?
It's a call to serve. It's a huge responsibility. I feel honored, and it's with great fear and trembling, given the huge responsibility of being on the team in charge of mobilization on organization, because when you're in the team, when you're on the pitch, whatever score your team gets, you are accountable for it. So it's not the kind of appointments we celebrate. It's the kind of appointments you sit back and reflect deeply on.
That's right.
I feel honored, but it's with a huge sense of historic duty that I face my responsibilities on the campaign team.
And the expectations are very high, given that 2025 presidential election is very crucial, and I mean one of the most crucial since in decades, to speak. The UNDP, your party, has been touring. Of course, campaigns have not officially started, but we've seen opposition parties touring different regions to get to know firsthand what the different communities need, to also get to meet the people, get to meet the different supporters of the different political parties. Let us focus on the NUDP, which is your party. You've been to Bamenda, you've been to Biya, you've been to Limbe, and also other parts of Cameroon. What has your party leader, Mr. Bello Bouba Maigari, been telling supporters during these tours?
Comrade Bello Bouba Maigari has one message for Cameroonians. Just one message. It's time to change. We've seen how far. We've seen what the New Deal regime has given so far. Expecting that there's anything new is a degree, I don't know if it's a Stockholm syndrome that will account for that. But we know there is nothing else. They have given everything they can give. They have proven beyond reasonable doubt what their intentions are, what their motivations are, what their character is. So we are not going around to examine the needs of the people, because the party is the people. We know what we need. We are going around to meet our base and actually tell them why this time around we've broken up and we've decided to fight a different battle. We've been fighting for the people throughout. We're still fighting for the people now. In the government, we went in to fight for the people. We quit the government for the people. So we're actually explaining to the people why we are going around this time around.
Yeah, but when you look at reactions on
What
social media, there's a general impression when you look at reactions on social media, there's a general impression that people only get to hear from their leaders, opposition leaders, and even members of the ruling government when election is approaching. What would you be your response?
I won't respond for others or respond for ourselves. We've been vocal, and I can cite different instances where we spoke out of an election season. During the grand dialogue, we were very vocal. Yes, our chairman has been reproached of being a man of very few words. There's no taboo in saying that he is not one of the very gifted orators we have around, but we know it's not also a competition of eloquence. Right from the tripartite, where he was actively present, to when he went into to when he presented himself as a candidate in '92, legislative elections, and then presidential elections. Throughout, when he came to the government, and maybe I'll have a chance, you give me a chance to explain that parkour. He has always, in his constant nature, in very few words, explained and told the people why he was doing what and when. So we've been speaking. Maybe the people have not been hearing. Maybe that's
No,
the
we've been
problem.
hearing and of course, we've been reporting, but also people want consistency when it comes to, reactions and like visits to conflict regions. When they speaking or when the speeches are louder, during an electoral year, you can't stop people from asking questions like why now? Or is it opportunistic? Or is it just because of the election? But you've made it clearer than that the leader of the NUDP has been vocal, has always been speaking up about the things that are affecting the Cameroonian society. But let's head to Limbe because that was where the NUDP faced one of the major challenges when it comes to the meetings or meeting its militants. The meeting in Limbe was initially approved, but later it was banned. Can you tell us exactly what happened?
Maybe even before Limbe, when we're in Menganga, I think everybody saw what happened. If we didn't quell down the population's wrath, it would have been quite the phenomenon where the administrative authority will approve the meeting, and then on the eve or on the day of the meeting, will try to disrupt the meeting. What happened in Limbe was exactly what happened in Menganga. We had a written authorization to hold our meeting on the 5th, that was Saturday. So when we left from Douala and the motorcade of our chairman was heading to Limbe for the meeting, our militants on the ground who were doing the setup called to say that the hall was shut, and before the hall was shut, on instructions from the DO, I cannot verify because I didn't see any instructions from him, but we just saw the implementation of the instructions. The meeting was initially supposed to be at the Limbe Municipal Stadium according to our request, which they denied, using as reason for the denial public trouble à l'ordre public, something of that sort. So they confined us to a very tiny hall in the Women Empowerment Center at near Comprehensive at the entrance of Limbe, just after Mile 2. So we complied. NUDP has no problem meeting anywhere. Even if they were asked to meet in prison, we will meet. So a few hours to the meeting, we are told that the hall, the decoration set up, the chairs will be displayed, put in to receive the militants, were kicked out of the hall, and that the decorations in the hall were torn down. Actually, our meeting place was vandalized, and there was a heavy presence of police officers who came and expelled from the hall our militants who were already there, and later on sealed the doors to the center. So, being in charge of mobilization, I rushed down there with my comrades who are on the campaign team with me, and seeing the situation and knowing that this time around, the law keepers were the ones breaking the law, we said we will hold our meeting according to the law, according to the authorization given to us, and nothing will stop us. So the militants mobilized spontaneously, just like you said, Minganga. And when the crowd became too much to be contained by the forces of law and order present, the SDO came himself, and in a bid to avoid, maybe they thought we will stand down. Maybe they thought the population was going to be intimidated by the heavy presence of the forces of law and order. Little do they know that in 2025, people are no longer afraid. Intimidation doesn't work anymore. Everybody is willing to go to jail as long as we are in the law and as long as we're fighting for the legitimate rights that are ours as citizens. So the SDO came and instructed that the hall be opened, which was done. So we set up rapidly. I mean, the bad weather had come. I was afraid the militants would disperse. But mind you, despite the bad weather and despite this disruption, the militants kept coming in their numbers. So the last episode of provocation was when the national chairman, we informed him, because when this happened, he decided to stay somewhere while we go to adjust this, following his instructions. So when we had gotten access to the hall and said at mile 4, the militants decided, most of them, we decided to go and wait for him at the entrance of town at mile 2. So we gathered there, we mounted some bikes, and some of us, we said some should go welcome him while the others wait in the hall. So we went, while we were stationed waiting for him to come, the DO of Limbe 1 came and in a very, very, well, in the tone we know as theirs, in a very condescending, arrogant tone, came and gave us the orders to vacate, stating we did not have the authorization to hold a public meeting, but we had to be confined to the hall which he had earlier opposed we use. So I told him that the militants are not occupying the public space. I know what it means to occupy the public space. We see in our big towns, people pay authorizations to block a road and use it maybe for a funeral or whatever. That was not what we were doing. We were waiting for a chairman as militants to welcome him and drive quietly with him to the venue of our meeting. He told me we were breaking the law, and I told him we are not breaking any law, unless he means to say when a funeral procession is moving with the hearse and mourners are processing behind or before the hearse, they are breaking the law. Unless he's telling me that when a bridal train is processing, celebrating, they are breaking the law. We are not blocking any other user from using the public space. We are driving for our chairman. So, well, all the
Yeah,
threats
but also this is not the first logistical challenge that the NUDP has faced. Like you said, it was also a similar situation in Gaundere,
in
just few
Minganga,
days in Meganga, and where even to travel was a problem.
exactly. Yeah, in
Yes,
Boundary, yeah.
so many people were questioning whether the leader of your party, Bello Bouba Maigari, shares any responsibility for this, given that he has been for a long time Minister of Tourism, and the connection between tourism and transport is not something that is very wide. So he's been part of the government for a while. These are some of the problems that Cameroonians have generally faced. It's not like it's just the NUDP party that is facing. What would be your response?
I'll respond if you permit me in explaining, because if you do not get why he got even into government, you will not understand why he got out, and therefore will not be able to attribute the responsibilities fairly. Yes, we are not ashamed to say that we share a whole lot of responsibility in the failed states we find ourselves in, where institutions have failed, infrastructure has failed, is a wolf, is a disgrace, and the economy is a failure. We admit and we own our responsibility in it, but we will explain why we got to where we got to and why we get ourselves entangled in this responsibility. Actually, it's because of this failure that we backed out. In 1992, the opposition was disrupted and was disbanded by the regime when they proposed posts to major opposition leaders. In 1992, we saw the entry into the government of opposition leaders like like Minister Kodok of UPC, two ministers from our party, Amadou Mustafa, who was vice chair of our party, and Issa Chiruma Bakari, who was then the SG of the party, and others, Dakoli Daisala, other many opposition leaders, major figures, got into government in 1992. Our chairman refused, he declined to join the government at that time, whereas others got into government. And he declined for a simple reason. I'm not doing politics because I want to benefit of a seat at the table or to have a share of the cake. I'm doing politics because of the people. We want to use power to bring meaningful change to a sick nation in the heart of economic crisis with all that we know of. I won't go into that. And he wasn't heard at the time. His party was divided. Many officials of his party accepted offers from the ruling government and and left the party. That was in 92. He didn't sanction anybody till 94. It took 1992 to 1994 for him to suspend or to expel Issa Chiroma and Amadou Mustafa. He waited for 2 years for them to realize their mistake and come back. In 1997, when the offer was brought back to him, unlike the others who went into the government, into Biya's government unconditionally, in 97, when he was approached again, he said the same thing. I'm not getting into government, or I'm not doing politics to satisfy any personal envy or desire or lust, any mundane ambition. I'm into politics for the people. So if I should join your government, it will be under certain terms and conditions. And he stated the terms and the conditions, and a contract was signed between his party, represented by him, I think Hele Pierre, and I think Nana Boubacar. I think they were the co-signers, the signatories on party side, and Musonge, Mokokom Bonjo, I don't know who else, signed on the behalf of the government and the CPDM. So he entered on condition, and he put the conditions. There was the preservation of national unity. All the terms were for the good, the preservation of the interest of the people and the nation. Had these terms not been agreed to, he wouldn't have joined the government. 97 to 2004, nothing was done in the respect of these terms, and he
But that's
boycotted
a
the
very
election.
long time, Mr. Mbafor. You and I fall within the category of young. Now, this is just a
I would like
conversation
to, if
between.
you permit me to
Yeah,
proceed, and
yeah,
I'll answer why you say a long
yes,
time.
yes, yes.
In
Okay, go ahead.
97 to 9, yes, 97 to 2004, nothing was done, and you understand later on why he maybe waited that long. 2004, he boycotted the elections. He didn't support any candidate, and he didn't run. He boycotted. He didn't ask Biya any support for Biya, and he didn't run. Biya's people came back and renewed the commitment to respect the platform, the agreement, the contract, and he gave them another try from 2004 to 2011. You understand in the end why he was this patient. 2011, nothing was done. They came back with very firm commitments to respect the terms of the contract signed. He warned them that if we don't respect these terms, we may see a situation where the country will start self-destroying, start imploding from within. Hello? Hello?
I can hear you. Yes, I'm
Yes.
here.
They took the same commitments again, 2018, the next round. Nothing was done. I want you to know at this point, note at this point, maybe that will be in answer to your preoccupation. It took a long time. If we go back to 1982, he was appointed in November as prime minister. 9 months after, in August, he resigned. He banged the door and quit the government because he was disgusted by the poor governance without transition from a very rigorous governance under Aijo. The transition was very brutal. He banged the door and he quit. He quit the government in August. I think it was 27th of August, if I remember well, 1982. Well, you and I were not born yet, I'm sure. Many people have blamed him for having been impulsive, for having been impatient, for having quit the government so soon. Yeah, I mean, and he justified the time. The provocations were too much. The atmosphere between the north and the south was totally, I mean, it was horrible. The degradation, I mean, it was terrible. It was unbearable. He quit. He didn't stay. People have told him over the time, I'm sure he's told himself, that had he stayed longer, had he persevered and stayed in the government and struggled to preserve that bridge, maybe the very sad events of 84 and beyond would have been prevented. So he has lived with that remorse, that self-guilt. Quitting very early led to catastrophes that have plunged the country to where we are today. So coming back, he was very cautious. That's why, first of all, he said, it's not for me, it's for the interest of the people. He insisted that that contract be signed, so tomorrow he could show Cameroonians that this is why I went in. Let the others who went in show the reasons why they went in. He can show a document, a written document. It was for the interest of the people. And this time around, so that I will not be blamed for the same thing of 82.
Mr. Mbafor, because this is a conversation between you and I, besides being a politician, you are also a Cameroonian. You say he joined for the interest of the people. Yes, he joined the government for the interest of the people. But the country has been plagued by a lot of conflicts. A lot of things are going on. Can we concretely know exactly what Mr. Bello Bouba Maigari has done for the interest of Cameroonian? I am a Cameroonian here. My colleagues have been killed. Others have been in prison. I've never heard him say anything about journalists. That is an example. Number two, on the Anglophone crisis, when it started since 2016, we've never heard him come out to say this is injustice, this is how things should go. I've not heard him, except I'm mistaken. Cameroonians are watching and they will be able to tell whether they heard Mr. Bello Bouba Maigari say exactly the wrongs of the Biya regime when it comes to the Anglophone crisis. Boko Haram is another issue, so close to home for him. We've not seen him come out to really say, these are the issues that are affecting Boko Haram and this is how it can be solved. Let's forget about the electoral year. I'm talking about the past, the before now. Let's look at economic woes. Accidents in Cameroon, they kill even more than malaria and even more than the Anglophone crisis. So can you tell me how he has been working for concretely? I mean, in terms of the things he has done, not on paper, but in practice. What has he done to make things better for Cameroonians? Can you tell me?
Okay, I will be as honest and sincere as possible. You have not heard him, like I said in the beginning. We can blame him for lack of eloquence or lack of active prise de parole. But I want to say he has been very actively advocating. I'll go back to the tripartite. He was the only leader of the tripartite who openly opposed and criticized the change of the state nomenclature from the United Republic to the La République. We know, as Anglophones, we know how significant that has been. Now, as a minister in government, I want to give certain examples of how his hands have been systematically limited and tied in terms of actions. Let us take his stay at the Ministry of Tourism and take the CAN, the African Cup of Nations that just that were played a while ago. As the Minister of Tourism, he was actively involved in the preparations of hotel infrastructure and everything. His signature was with his right to approve his right as a minister in charge of that department was withdrawn from him, and everything was handled by a task force at the presidency. He could only stand by and watch. Same thing in the different ministries, where first of all you can see he has only been given peripheral ministries, still where he could have had an impact, but where his actions have been greatly limited. From that moment when he saw that he was being contained and being prevented from having meaningful concrete actions which Cameroonians could see, and mind you, it was intentional, because those who brought him into government knew the impact he would have if they let his hands loose and let him to manage his ministries as he wanted. Of course, they'll be fabricating and empowering their opponents. So he resolved to contesting, writing, and protesting. I personally accompanied him. We spoke about the Anglophone crisis. What has he said? You didn't hear him. I accompanied him to meet the Prime Minister when the grand dialogue was being prepared. We worked together a full day and a half to prepare the memorandum and all the points and proposals, in which he said we cannot be going to a dialogue. I'm talking to you firsthand. Whereas we have compatriots in jail. It is not sincere. You cannot be going to talk with your in-laws to repair your marriage, whereas your wife is inside your dungeons. He said they should be freed and amnesty should be granted to all those who have been locked up or those who are still fighting. If you want peace, you send out that gesture. He said it loud and repeated. He said it over and over again, verbally and in writing, that the form of the state is the problem in which we find ourselves. Others said, no, it's not from the state, it's from of governance, etc. He says
So
the form of the
what is
state.
the NUDP strategy to address the Anglophone crisis?
Number one, blanket amnesty to all those who have been involved in the crisis. Atrocities have been committed by all the parties involved. Number two, freedom of all the jailed compatriots who were jailed because of their opinion, the expressions of their opinion. Number three, open and direct dialogue with all those involved, all the stakeholders, even the most radical separatists. Number four, taking to a referendum the proposals of the form of the new states, even if it were to include federalism of any form.
So what will be the question in the referendum?
The
What
question in the
questions will be asked
referendum.
in the referendum?
The question in the referendum will be what will be discussed and be the outcome of the grand dialogue. If you've gotten to all the 4 points I've outlined, they were in chronological order. First, the blanket amnesty. Second, freedom of all the jailed compatriots. Thirdly, a truly inclusive grand dialogue. And it is at that dialogue, he has always said, Anglophones are the ones wearing the shoe. They know where the pinch is and they know what's the solution. We cannot bring a solution to them of which they're not part of. That is why
the reason why I'm asking for the referendum is this is a problem that has to do with the English-speaking Cameroonians. Yes. Will it just be the Anglophones being part of the referendum, or will it be a national thing? And when I was talking about the questions in the referendum, because there are people who are advocating for federalism, others for union, for a unitary state, others for secession completely. Are these questions that will be involved in the referendum? Can we clearly know?
Let me make a point clear here. Let me make a point clear here. Speaking for myself, speaking for my chairman on what I know is his position, we are not open to any discussions about secession, please. Okay. We are open to every option of discussion that excludes the separation of the motherland. That's the first thing. Now, coming to, it's an Anglophone problem. Will the referendum be localized just to the Anglophone region, or is it going to be national referendum? Any meaningful referendum cannot only consider one of the parties, and I'll explain why. At this dialogue, we will discuss on what is the form of the states that is best for all Cameroonians to feel at home and feel concerned in the governance of their nation. Okay. Now, yes, who is going to be part of the referendum? The the logical thing is, Anglophones, first of all, we cannot decree on them that, okay, we are going to a federal form of government of this content, 10 states, 2 states, whatever. It has to be the choice of the people. All the questions in the of the referendum will be questions that will deal with any form of the state that is completely exclusive of secession. It will be the choice of the people.
The choice of the
please,
people.
If you
So,
permit me to end here, to add a word here, I beg your indulgence. Anglophones usually, or many Anglophones, I don't know if it's most of your or less, insist on it. If it's a federation, it must be a 2-state federation. And I understand where they're coming from. They're coming from the historical facts and the historical truths. But I want us also to be mindful of the fact that in having the right to choose for ourselves, we cannot deprive others to choose for themselves. If Anglophones have agreed, the Northwest and the Southwest, to live together in one state, they cannot impose that on Francophones. A Bamileke man because we want to live together, we impose on a Bamileke man to live in the same state with a Bodo man, or a Douala man to live in the same state with the Northerner. We have to be open-minded here, and we have to be fair. We are fair people as Anglophones. So we will choose the form of the state, if it's federation, if it's a unitary state, or if it's the hated term of decentralization, which I think most people don't even want to hear, like me. But when we come into the content, the form of the federalism, I think it will have to involve all Cameroonians, because it's not just Anglophones who've been suffering. Everybody has been suffering under the evil regime.
Yes, it's important that when we have the conversation, we can come back again because of time constraints. Because we have 1 or 2 more questions to ask before we go. Many people are of the view that because Mr. Bello Bouba Maigari has been a long-time ally of the ruling government, they do not trust the NUDP presidential candidate. Why should people trust Mr. Bello Bouba Maigari? And what are the guarantees that at the last minute, like 1 week or few days to the election, the NUDP will not tell Cameroonians that please vote for the CPDM and the candidate President Paul Biya? Because we've seen that in the past.
No, you have not seen that in the past.
I've seen it as I've covered the presidential election in 2018. It took place. 2011, it took place where we didn't know exactly where the NUDP stood, and last minute they were urging Cameroonians to vote for President Paul Biya. We've seen that.
Point of correction. In 2011, Bello Bouba never took a decision alone. The Central Committee met and decided to trust the ruling party again. It was not a last minute thing. It's not like we said we were of the opposition, we said we were going to elections, and then at the last minute we turned our coats. No. In 2018, same thing. We never said we were running against the NUDP, and then we turned around and said vote for Biya. We have been consistent. Comrade Bello Bouba Maigari came to the Congress, and a Congress decided we were going to break up based on the non-respect of the terms of the collaboration, the contracts with the ruling party. We broke up because they didn't respect it, and because we had waited for too long to see them honor their word. The Central Committee decided, and this is the first time since we joined the government that we decided that we are not running with you. If Cameroonians want to see consistency, then they have somebody in front of them who is consistent and true to his word, even if it is to his own detriment. When he says he's with you, he's with you. He has been insulted for it, and he has borne the responsibilities. Today he says, I have broken up, and true to his word, the Central Committee voted. 500 members gathered in the Congress of the Central Committee and the National Advisory Council sat and voted for this breakup upon the facts he presented to us. He told us they have not honored their word. We cannot keep going, and went to a vote. And in that occasion, we voted. I voted against. We unanimously decided to break up. So there has never been a double game of the NUDP. It has never been. When we said we were with them, it was based on a contract. They didn't respect the contract, and today we have said, based on this, we are not working.
So what if the CPDM comes to them and says, okay, the terms of the contract, we were going to respect them? What would the NUDP party do now?
It is too late. It's too late. The train has left the train has left that station anymore. No, even if the only thing that can make us come back to the table is that they say we are quitting and come and handle execute the contract. The train has left the station. Even if Mr. Biya woke up from his bed and came to Bello's gate and rang, he will not be received, because he has decided to turn that page, because he gave them, I think it's 28 years. He was blamed for quitting after 9 months. This time around, he can't be blamed for taking a hasty decision. He waited for 28 good years. That is how many? That is 4 presidential terms. It's
but
enough.
there were 28 years, Mr. Mbafor. We are expecting that Bello Bouba Maigari should be retiring. With the young candidates like you, young learned comrades of the NUDP like you.
Thank you very much.
Why doesn't he step aside to say, oh, Cameroonians are tired of old leadership, old people running the country, old people at the Constitutional Council everywhere, the Senate, we are seeing old people at the helm of the Senate and the National Assembly. Let me step aside and also let a younger person within my party take over. Why are we not seeing that in the any, like maybe you, yes, of course, or another person, or a young woman in the NUDP?
With an illustration. When a plane is facing a situation of Mayday, we want the most experienced pilot who will not be impressed by the storms of and the thunderbolts of the tempest to land the plane first. When the plane has been landed, then the very, very ambitious and very, very highly motivated younger pilots can take off the plane. But when we are in a major situation like where we find ourselves in now, we need the most experienced person. Why Bello Bouba Maigari? He is 17 years old.
Experience to his age.
Pardon?
Age is experience. Is it enough to say someone knows
Paul
what
Biya
it
was
takes
young.
or has what it
Paul
takes?
Biya was elected in his 40s. Oh, well, not elected. He was designated in his 40s. He was young and he crashed the country. That alone should show us that age is not a problem. Mandela got to power very old and he did better than all those who came after him who are far younger than him. So I will not take the age argument. He has the experience. He knows and masters the opponent best. There is no state file, there's no state project, he was at the heart of the 5-year development plans that Aijo used to work with and on. To me, he has that experience to lead us through a transitional period. We want to kick out Biya. We want to rebuild the nation. Can we have both at the same time? I doubt it.
So what's the transitional period? How long will he be there? How long will he be there and how many terms?
In the summary of his manifesto, he said he's bringing down the term from 7 years to 5 years. I think that's indicative of the time he will need to overhaul the system. Then we'll go to fresh elections. The party will decide if it is going to run in and give the tickets to an 83-year-old person, or give it to a younger generation like Pono or any other person. But for now, 2025, we need somebody who has, because mind you, it's not just about satisfying the ego part of I'm a candidate, I'm young, I'm an Anglophone. This election is particular because the best chance of winning is building a coalition. I think most people agree on that, though I think without a coalition, the opposition can win, given Biya's horrible report card. But if we're talking about the coalition, let us look for the best person we have that can build that coalition.
So who is that best person? Is it Bello Bouba Maigari?
If Paul Mbafor is the candidate, can Paul Mbafor tell Maurice Kamto to stand behind me? Can Paul Mbafor tell Issa Chiruma stand behind me? Can Paul Mbafor tell Akere Muna stand behind me?
So to you, who is the best person? Who is the best person to lead the coalition now? Who is the best person to the NUDP?
In my humble opinion, the best person to lead the coalition now, I stand to be corrected by facts, is Maigari Bello Bouba. Of the 11 candidates running, he has the best experience. He has had the best track record in being open to others. While in government, you never heard him antagonize anybody. Just like you've never heard him praise Paul Biya, in the extravagant ways where other competitors do. He always honored the invitations of other opposition leaders, and wherever he held his events, he always invited them. He had a very good and respectful relationship with everybody, and that is not spoken of enough. Based on all of these factors, and based on even the age factor, I'm not bothered by the age factor. It's a disadvantage to him, not to us. Because he's 78, he's not going to come and run for another 43 years.
So what's the
He's going to
relationship
come
between
and
the NUDP and the party of Issa Shirou and Bakari? Are they going to form a coalition given that they are from the Grand Nord? What's the relationship between both parties?
I wish they form a coalition. I do wish they form a coalition. But as it stands, there's no coalition yet. We pray that both leaders come together and put the interest of the people above whatever experiences they've had in the past. For now, there is no coalition yet between Issa Chiruma's
Yeah, but
party, the
so you are
FFT.
talking one thing and saying another. You say the interests of Cameroonians are both personal interests. But the
Yes.
same you are very categorical that only Bello Bouba Maigari can lead the
No,
coalition.
you are misquoting me completely. You asked me a question. Who do I think is the best
I said, but
candidate?
you
You didn't.
think that
Yes,
the Bello
that's
Bouba
my.
Maigari is
The fact that I think is the best choice doesn't mean I'm saying he's the only person that can rule. He himself has never said it must be him. He's never said that.
Okay, so
He's
it's your
never said that.
personal opinion. So it's your
It's my
personal opinion.
opinion.
It has nothing to
And
do with
my
the party.
opinion,
Okay.
because I don't know Issa Chuluma better. I've never worked with him. I don't know him, so I cannot vouch for somebody I don't know. All I know about him is
But
negative.
you remember that you're here under the canopy of the NUDP. So anything
The
that you
fact that I'm
say,
under the NUDP
people,
does not mean I'll call white black or black white. If we see
yeah.
a
So if you're
better
coming under the
candidate,
NUDP and you say something, people believe that is the NUDP speaking.
the
So
NUDP thinks till proof of the contrary that our chairman is the best candidate. Does it mean
so
that we are saying that he is the only person to lead the coalition? That's not what we mean. We are coming saying he's the best candidate. Bring a better candidate and we'll follow him.
Yeah, we have other opposition party candidates too. We have Barrister Akere Muna, we have Tomaino
Exactly.
Damjuya, we have
Yes.
Mr. Ateki, we have even
Fabulous
Mr.
citizens.
Wahakbe.
Yes.
There are so many opposition party candidates, but only time, like you said, only time will tell.
The fact I bring my candidate doesn't mean I am close to the idea of any other person leading. There should be terms. How do we come to the choosing of a better candidate? What's the criteria? What's the criteria? So we are open. We are open. We think we have a good candidate.
I have two questions before we go.
Go ahead.
Number one question is, what if the NUDP doesn't win the election? What happens?
The Central Committee will sit and decide what will be our future.
Okay. Any plan?
The Central Committee that decided to go in, the Central Committee will sit and decide again what will be our next course of action.
Okay. So we've been seeing a lot of reactions whenever opposition party candidates come to Road To Etoudi. We are very, very open, and the kind of questions we ask them, most of the questions are not from us, they are from the audience. So when we see commentaries or people commenting, like on our different social media platforms, they are of the view that for them to vote the NUDP party, for some, not all, for some to vote the NUDP party, they'll prefer to vote President Paul Biya. What would be your reaction to that? Hearing a Cameroonian saying that they'll prefer to stick to a 93-year-old dictator who's been in power for 43 years than vote for an opposition party candidate. What's your reaction?
You'll get what you deserve. Don't complain after. Nothing else to say.
Okay. So I don't know if you have any final words, just 1 minute before we go. Less than 1 minute, 30 seconds.
My final word is, please, let's put emotions aside. We believe a coalition is the best option, but I will still say, with or without a coalition, if Cameroonians come out to vote massively, Paul Biya will have the last or the least score. He will carry the class out of the 12. So Cameroonians should come out massively. They should vote. They should stay at the polling stations, and they should secure their votes. That said, I believe from what I know and my intimate relationship with my, let me not use the word intimacy, it might send the wrong impressions. My close working with Bello for the past 17 years, he's a sober, humble, attentive, and experienced person. To me, he's the best candidate. But in NUDP, we are not close to say if it's not Bello, then there's no coalition. We are open to a fair dialogue with everybody. And if fair, logical, objective criteria choose another candidate, I'm sure Comrade Bouba Maigari, from the maturity and humility I see of him, he will not be the obstacle to the coalition. With that, I pray that God's perfect will be imposed on Cameroonians and on Cameroon this year, come 12 June 2025.
And we hope that Cameroonians are listening, which is why Road to Etoudi is here for them to make the informed decisions after listening to the various opposition party leaders and candidates as well ahead of the October 12th presidential election. We want to thank you so much, Mr. Paul Mbafor. This is a very busy time for you, but you created about 30 minutes or 1 hour, even more, to be part of this program. We want to really appreciate your presence and the fact that you created time to come and speak to us. But we just have one final question before we go. When are we going to have Mr. Bello Bouba on board?
I can tell you what he will likely tell you, but I cannot tell when you come. He will tell you that he will never be the obstacle to a coalition. His primary interest is that change be brought to Cameroonians, a new day where there will be democracy and there will be progress, real progress that will be fairer to grassroots will come to Cameroonians. That's what he will tell you, and you'll be surprised to see his humility and his open-mindedness on the subject matter. When he will come, I will likely talk about it with him in a few minutes, and whatever he tells me, I will tell you.
Right. Thank you so much for your time. Mr. Paul Mbafor is one of the national campaign coordinators of the UNDP political party and youth chairman as well of the party. We want to thank him for joining us tonight on Road to Etoudi. And to our viewers, we also thank you for watching, for sharing, also and for the comments. We can see a lot of people engaged in the comment section and sending in a lot of questions. We want to appreciate your insight, we see that a lot of Cameroonians are getting more and more interested to listen to the various presidential candidates. And we also want to thank the entire MMI team, particularly the production team of Road to Etoudi, for the marvelous job that they do every day. And until we meet again, I don't think I have anything else to say. We just want to say it's bye for now.